I have my border lines ruled. The line at the top is the top line. The one at the left is the center back, while the one to the right is the center front. So the size of this block is half of the bust measurement plus 1 inch. So I'm working with bust 34 inches. Half of that is 17 inches plus 1 inch. That's 18 inches. So I'm sure that it's going to accommodate the draft. So the first thing I'm starting with is 0.0 center back. And from the proportion table, 0.0 center back for this size is 2.5 cm. So I'm marking 2.5 cm on CB from the top line. So I'll just take this at 2 points so that I can have a line ruled. It's just a short line. So this line will stand for the neck line. So after this, I'm going to rule the bust line. And from the formula, if you can still remember, bust divided by 6 plus 3.5 inches. So 34 divided by 6 plus 3.5 will give 9.1667. So we can just say 9 1 over 8, or around 9 and quarter. That's what I'm going to pick for this. So I'm just marking like 2-3 points so that I can rule a straight line. This line will represent the bust line. So the next line is the waistline. The measurement of the shoulder to the waist at the front is 15.75. So I'm going to reduce half an inch. So I'm marking just 15.25. 15.25. So the essence of this is to make the front length longer than the back. 0.0 center back is in a way contributing to that, but this one that I'm drawing, by reducing by half an inch, we also contribute to it. So I'm reducing the front half length by half an inch. So instead of marking 15.75, I'm marking 15.25. So this is the waistline running from CB to CF. So this is waistline. The same thing here, waistline. This is the bust line. So the next line is the back line, and the back line is the midpoint of the neckline and the bust line. So I can just place my tape this way to locate the middle. So you can fold your tape, locate the middle. So at this point, I rule the line, and that will be the back line. The next line is the shoulder line. Shoulder line is 1 inch, or you take 2.5 cm from the neckline. 2.5 cm from the neckline. So I rule the line like halfway the paper. This will be the shoulder line. Don't forget, here from here to here is 2.5 cm, and that is 0.0 for the back. So it's called 0.0 center back. So now I have all the lines ruled. I'll start placing my measurements. So the measurement for the neck width is bust over 8 plus 1 inch. So 34 divided by 8 plus 1 inch will give us 5.25. So since we are drafting on half pattern, I will divide 5.25 by 2. So you can fold your tape this way to 5.25 and place the measurement on the neckline. So from this point, I'll go up by 2 cm. And call this place NP. NP means neck point. So this same point, I'll trace it to the center back with a dashed line and label it X to make reference to that later. So on the back line, I'll put the across back measurement. And the across back measurement is 13 inches. Half of 13 inches is 6.5 inches. So I'll mark it on the back line. I'll also mark on the shoulder line and the same on the bust line, and connect the 3 points together. So once I have this line ruled, from this line I'll mark 2 cm. You can do that with your tape measure or your ruler. From here I'll mark 2 cm. That's kind of a standard. So this point is the SP, which is the shoulder point. So I will connect MP and SP together with a ruled line. So I will draw the curve of the neckline. So from MP, draw a curve down to point O this way for the neckline. So I will place my measurements on the bust line. That is quarter of the bust measurement. Bust 34, quarter is 8.5 inches. I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here and label here as UP, which is the underarm point. But before I place the waist measurement, first I'll mark 2 cm. If you are working in inches, you can mark 3/4. Some people use half an inch for slanted center back. Some people call that back tightening. So I'm going to connect the 2 cm mark to the back line where it meets the center back. So from the slanted center back now, I can position my waist measurement. So waist circumference is 28 divided by 4, that is 7. So I'm adding that of 2 cm. If you like, you can add 1 inch, but for this I'm adding 2 cm for the dart. So this is the waist point. So I'll connect my underarm point to the waist point. So I want to position the waist dart, and we position waist dart using the bust span measurement. So the bust span for this size is 7 inches. Half of that is 3.5. Oh, and since I added that of 2 cm, that means I'm adding 1 cm on either side. So I'll take a line straight up. So, and on this line, the size of the dart is you can measure 15 cm rather, or 6 inches. But the most important thing is that it does not go above the bust line. So I'm marking 15 cm on this line, and I'll connect to the 1 cm mark on either side of the guideline. Okay. So we have our waist dart. I'm left with the armhole and the small shoulder dart that will be here. So for the armhole, I have 5 reference points. This is point 1, where the back line meets this vertical line is point 2, and from there I'll come down by 3 cm. From here to here, 3 cm. This will be point 3 cm. And here I'll take an angle out here, and on that line I'm going to mark 2.5 or 3 cm. 2.5 or 3 cm. That's about 1 inch or 1.25 inch. For small sizes, 1 inch may work, so that will be 0.4, and here will be 0.5. For bigger sizes, 3 cm will be fine. So I'll connect the 5 points from point 1 and 2 with a slight curve. I'll keep 2 and 3 straight, then I'll connect 3, 4, 5 with a curve. So this is our armhole. So to get the size of the shoulder dart that will be left here, I'll place my tape at X. That is why we root this MP to X. I'll place my tape at X, bring it to NP, hold it down at MP, and bring it down to SP. And I'll mark the size of my shoulder width. Shoulder width, that's from one shoulder point to the other shoulder point. For this size is 14 inches. Half of that is 7 inches. So whatever is left here will be the size of the dart, and that is 1.5 cm for what is left here. Or if you use your inches to measure, that's about half, like 5/8. So I want to position the shoulder that such that is at the middle of this line. So I'll measure this, the size of the shoulder. This is about 4.5. That means 2.25 on either side. So I'll measure 2.25 on this side. I also measure 2.25 on this side. Let me go over that again. From MP to this point is exactly my shoulder length. Shoulder width is from X to MP down to SP, but my shoulder length is from MP up to where I marked the 7 inches mark. So that means the shoulder itself is what, 4.5, and I want to position it such that the dart is at the middle. So I'm marking 2.25 on the side of MP, 2.25 on the side of SP. So where we did that stop, it will stop 2 cm above the back line. So I'm going to place my ruler this way and draw a line 2 cm above the back line, and I'll draw my shoulder that such that it's facing the waist dart. When you draw it this way, when you want to panel, it's easy to just connect. So I'm drawing the one closer to the center back first, and I'll use the other side to complete it. So now we are done with the back bodice. Going to the front bodice. On the front bodice, where the top line meets the center front is point O, unlike the back bodice that you have to come down by 2 point, depending on the proportion, depending on the size. For this size 2, so we came down by 2.5. So for but for the front, where the top line means the center front is point O. So the first thing to mark for the front bodice is the neck width. And if you remember from our formula, the neck width was divided by 8 plus 1 inch, and we are taking half of that, so we got 5.25. So I'm folding my tape this way to locate the half of the measurement. So this point is NP, which is the neck point. So generally for adult sizes, you can use 7.5 cm. That's about 3 inches. For bigger sizes, you can come down up to like 8 cm. So I'm marking it on the other side so that I can have like a rectangular box here that we use as a guide to draw the armhole. So from MP, I want to get the shoulder slant. I'll come from MP 5 inches. So from here to here is 5 inches. If you are working in cm, you use 12.5 cm, and I'll come down here by 5 cm. If you are working in inches, that is 2 inches. So from here to here, you come down by 2 inches. From there, you rule a line. So we can call this star. So from MP, rule a line through star and extend it out. So on this line, we'll position the shoulder length and the size of the bust dart. So the shoulder length, if you remember from the back bodice, the shoulder length is 4.5 inches. So I will mark 4.5 inches. If you are measuring in cm, get it in cm and mark it. Then the size of the dart, our proportions are in cm. Size of the dart for this size 2 is 6.5 cm. So I'm adding 6.5 cm. This will be the SP shoulder points. So before I proceed, I will include 2 other horizontal lines for the front bodice, and that is the chest line and the true bust line. The chest line is 2 inches above the bust line. So I'm marking 2 inches above the bust line. And I'll rule a line that represents the chest line. Then I'll rule another line, which is the true bust line. That's from the shoulder to the bust point. So from the top line, I'm marking 10.5 for this size. That is the true bust line from the shoulder to the bust point, 10.5 inches. So on that point, I rule another line, which is the true bust line. That's the true bust line. So people call it bust point line. Anyone, just know that it's from the shoulder to the bust point. Then I want to mark the guideline for the waist dart, and I'm going to use the bust span measurement. Half of the bust span measurement is 3.5 inches. I'll mark it on the bust line. The bust span is 7, and also half of that, 3.5, on the waistline. So I'll connect the two with a straight line. So this I want to draw the bust dart now on the shoulder, and this bust dart will stop at 2 cm below the bust line. So from the bust line, I'll mark 2 cm. That is where the dart is stopping. So the same thing I did for the back bodice, I want to position the dart such that it's at the middle of the shoulder. So I'm taking half of the shoulder length here and half on the other side of MP. So I'm taking 2.25 on this side because my shoulder length is 4.5. Just share your shoulder into 2 equal parts. Take half on either side. So whatever is left here, consider that 6.5 cm. That's the size of the dart. So the first dart leg from here, stopping at 2 cm below the bust line, this way. Then I'll draw the second dart leg. So I'll place the chest measurements. Now I want to start placing my measurements on the chest line. I'll place the chest measurement. The chest measurement for this size is 12.5, and since we are drafting half pattern, half of that is 6.25. So I'll mark it here. If you check, you see that the bust dart has taken some portion of the chest measurement. So I'm just going to take the measurement. That's 2 cm. So I'm adding 2 cm from this to the bust line. So that's to compensate for this when the dart is closed. So this is the chest point, the final chest point. So I'll connect SP, that's shoulder point, to the final chest point. This will be part of the guideline for the armhole, and from there I'll bring it straight down. That's dropping it perpendicular to the bust line. So on the bust line, I'm going to put a quarter of the bust measurement. That is 8.5 in inches. So if you look at this dart again, it has taken some portion on the bust line, and also on the slanted center back, it has taken some portion. I'm going to measure this and add it up. So this is about 0.9 cm, and this is about 0.8 cm. That's about 1.7 cm. So some people simply just add 2 cm or 1 inch, but to avoid so much ease on the bodies, you can just measure the intake and add it. So here will be the underarm point for the front bodies, and on the waistline, I'm going to position the quarter waist measurement plus that. So quarter waist measurement here is 7 inches. I want to position that of 3 cm. I want to add that rather of 3 cm. You can add 1 inch, you can add 1.25, but 1, 2, 3, that's 3 cm. I'm adding 3 cm. It's kind of a standard for what we use here, but depends on the size too. So I'm connecting underarm point to the waist point for the side seam. And for the armhole, I'll measure the line from SP to chest point and divide it by 2. So you can put your tape this way and fold it like this to locate the middle. And from here, you go in by 1 cm or 3/8. 3/8 is 3, counting 3 lines on your tape. That's 1 line before half an inch. So you connect. So let's name the number the points. This is point 1, this is point 2, CHP is point 3, and at this point, at this angle, I'm going to draw a line, and on the line I'll measure 2 cm or 3/4 of an inch, 2 cm or 3/4 of an inch. So this will be our point 4, and UP will be 0.5, just the same way we have it for the back body. So I'm connecting the points 1, 2, and 3 with a curve. 3 and 4. When you are connecting the curve, you can just place your tape to pick all the points. So let this appear like it's coming from the previous curve. I'm connecting 4 and 5 too. Let it appear like it's coming from the other curve, just like this. So I want to put the position the waist dart. I added 3 cm for waist dart, so that's 1.5 cm on either side. If you add 1 inch, that will be ½ inch on either side. So your dart, the waist dart will stop 1 inch or 2.5 cm. You can as well take 2 cm from the true bust line, but the most important thing is that it must not stop at the true bust line. So I'm taking 2.5 cm, that's 1 inch from the true bust line. That is where the waist dart is stopping. And if you remember, when we were doing the waistline, we deducted ½ an inch from the front half length. So we want to add that to compensate for that loss, because the front half length should be 15 3/4. We only deducted ½ an inch to make the back waist length shorter. So I'm adding ½ an inch. If you are working in cm and you deducted 1 cm when you were doing the waistline, you add 1 cm at the center front and on the 2 dart legs. And at the side seam, I'm adding ¼ inch, ¼ inch. If you used cm and you deducted 1 cm, you add 1 cm at center front, 1 cm at the 2 dart legs, 0.5 cm at the waist point on the 2 side seams. So see how I'll connect it from the center front to the dart legs, and from the dart leg I'll take it up this way, so I can drop down my dart legs this way. So if you used cm, 1 cm, 1 cm, then 0.5 cm on this side, then at the center back from this line it will just go and runs off to 0 at center back. It just blends with the CB. So this is called waist shaping. So we are done with that. So I want to position the neckline for the front. At this point, I'll just come at an angle and mark 3 cm, and I'll connect MP to the 3 cm mark and make sure that the curve sits on the neckline. So the next thing is to do the dart jog, because if you have a dart on a slanting line, the dart legs will be longer than the other. Looking at this now, this is about 23.5, while this is 22.5. So we have to make sure that it's balanced. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold my paper this way, and I'll fold the longer dart leg on the shorter one. So this is the longer dart leg on the shorter dart leg this way. So, and I'll connect NP to SP, that's the shoulder seam, NP to SP. So in a way, I've closed the dart, but you see that this line is not showing on the folded part. So I'll use my tracing wheel to bring this point out this way, so I can pencil it out. So this is the basic bodice. We are done with the basic bodice. Try it out with your measurements and let's see how it goes. Thank you.